Hey, how's it going? My name's Steele Armstrong. This is my Polaris ACE 570 SP. There's my picture-in-picture just came in, so that's cool. My first time testing out the cameras on this thing. My first time really running around the yard with this. I got it back in August and I had some work to do on it before I could really do much with it. I still have to do the belt, but at some point I'm hoping to get it on that trailer over there and out to Pennsylvania. I'm in Rockland County, New York. We don't have trails. So this actually is a lot of fun, this little machine. You might think it doesn't have much power, but it does pretty well, you know. It weighs in at about 920 pounds with 45 horsepower. So, you know, it's pretty good, I think. You see the Mini off in the background there. It's my dad's. He built a rotisserie for it, so he's going to start getting to work on some of the rust underneath it. That thing is actually not a whole lot larger than the Ace. It's a bit longer and a few inches wider. I have to say I'm pretty impressed with the brakes. You can see here as I get to the end of the yard and stomp on them, it stops really well. That's actually something that I started to learn through sim racing, is to keep both feet covering both pedals, so you don't have to keep switching your foot back and forth. And I've started doing it on this thing. It feels good to drive around like that. Much more to get much more control that way. You can see I'm testing the brakes a little bit there. It feels very quick. I don't know if it's coming across through the video all that well. This little thing, though, if you have ever seen a two-person quad, two-up quad, it's about the same length as that, I'd say. Maybe slightly longer. It's the same width as a utility quad. You sit lower in it than you would on top of a quad by a considerable amount, actually. Center of gravity is not bad. I never felt like I was going to tip or anything. The seat, though, it needs replacing because it doesn't hold you in very well. That's the thing I did feel. You know, going around some of the corners, I felt like I was going to slide out of my seat. I just had to hop out here for a second. I did the rear gear case oil at the end of last season. I kind of didn't do anything over the winter, and then I did the front diff oil. And so I put a little paint mark on the drain plugs. I'm just checking to make sure that they haven't rattled loose or something, you know. That's one of the worst things that could happen because you just would not notice it. And so, you know, first test drive out there, checking everything out. Steering on this machine is very light, almost a bit too light. It has power steering, right? And I mean, that's a good thing in that it'll probably keep the wheel from getting yanked out of my hands so often, but it's just a little too much. However, with how small the whole thing is, my knees kind of bump into the steering wheel from time to time, so the additional strength of the power steering motor means I can actually go down in steering wheel size and not have to worry about making the steering extra heavy. Hopefully, you know, I'll end up finding some nice middle ground, you know. I can't go too small on the wheel, of course, but just a little bit smaller. You create a little bit more clearance there. Possibly also with one of those flat bottom wheels. I think it'd be nice. Hey, also, anybody know why the first 2 seconds of each time I start a voiceover on Premiere AI on the iPad, it's like the first 2 seconds is at 50% volume. I have to keep going in there and cutting it, and then doubling the volume on it. Kind of strange. So you can see I'm getting a little bit more into it now, getting the hang of the machine a bit. I wish I had some local trails or something, or that I can go out into the woods nearby. But behind my house, those woods don't go very far. It just goes back to a highway. So this is the best that I have right now. Oh, and here I'm trying to not hit the guy with the sprayer. So I'm going slow there. Spraying the perimeter of the property right now, of the house. But yeah, this machine, they made it, I think, from 2014 until 2019. It started off as a 325, and they wouldn't tell you the displacement. It was just called the ACE. And then after a couple of years, people were saying, you know, this thing needs more power. They shoved the 570 motor in there. I think it did a really good job. This one I have here has struts in the front, which is part of the reason why it's light. A couple of years after this, they came out with one with dual A-arms, which are nice, but it does add a bit of weight to the front. They also, at a certain point, came out with a 900 SP and a 900 XC. The 900 SP is the same size as this one, with a same motor out of the 900 Trail. The one that the twin engine. Sorry, not twin engine, of course. The twin cylinder. And in the ACE trim, the SP trim, it's a 60 horsepower tune. But with a simple reflash, you can get that thing up to, I think, like 95 horsepower. It's largely to do with the throttle not being opened all the way in stock form. I found one of those at the same time as I found this for not a whole lot more, and ended up choosing not to get it because of fuel consumption. It was really close, though. I even called up the dealership, and they never got back to me, but I called up the dealership, and then I started doing some more research into it, and I found that people were getting like maybe 80 miles on a tank if they were careful with the throttle. Some of them were getting less than that. It's only got a 5.25 gallon tank, this thing. So I realized, if I wanted to do any kind of rides that would take me a little bit further away from the truck, I'm going to have to carry around a couple of gallons, or maybe two gallon gas cans. I didn't really want to do that. So ultimately I decided this was the better choice, this one. You get really good mileage out of this 570 motor, and you still get good performance. I also know I would not have been able to resist tuning that 900. Couldn't just leave 30 plus horsepower untapped. So whatever mileage we were getting on the stock motor I doubt I'd get anywhere close to that if it was using the full 95 horsepower, but I'm sure that thing would be a blast. Now the 900 XC, if you've never seen that thing, it looks similar to this, except it's really a different beast. Same motor as the 900 SP, tuned higher from the factory. It's 59 inches wide, I believe, and it's got like 12 inches of travel in the front and 13 something in the rear. That thing is crazy, very cool. I found one of them for sale as well around the same time, but I decided not to go for it for the same reason. Also, I wanted to be able to go down ATV trails, so it would be too wide for that. The other thing with those is I think you need to get those kick-out bars so you don't snag a rear tire, because the body of the thing is the same width as this as far as I'm aware, and the wheels stick out so much further. But that is also, I like these kinds of machines. Maybe they're a little bit niche, I'm not sure. They discontinued them, so I guess they weren't selling enough of them, but they're cool. I see them in the same way as I see like the old Honda Odyssey and Pilot. It's just a cool machine, even if it's not top of the line horsepower and suspension travel and all that stuff. It's a bit unique. It's definitely cool. I've always been interested in machines like that, I guess, a little bit out of the norm, out of the box. If you're still watching this far into the video, thank you. I really appreciate it. Maybe you would consider subscribing. That'd be cool. I do plan on making a lot of videos with this machine once I get my trailering situation figured out, and I also have some ideas for building it. I'd like to do a cage. Most likely have to do one myself, because I don't think that the companies that were making them, I don't know that they still are. I'd like to do a set of full doors. Walker Evans makes a set of shocks and struts for this. I'd love to get those. But more on that in another video, since I believe I'm about to interrupt myself any moment here. Also, future videos won't just be running around the yard like this. I have plans to go out to Pennsylvania to a couple of trail systems and an ATV park. I think this thing's gonna be some fun. I don't know that the camera can, I don't know if you can hear me. I don't know that the camera can tell, but my yard is very much not flat. There are areas that are off camber,
around the tree, around the front corner of the house over there. I gotta be careful, because with my old razor I went up on 2 wheels. The whole yard is kind of sloping in different directions. Even then it feels pretty good. I don't feel like it's tippy, you know? Let it idle and cool down a bit. Only thing left to do is the belt. This, I think, is like a 10-year-old belt on this thing right now. There's a fan kicking in.